Hello students, Michael Sanchez, violin fiddle teacher here. Welcome to tonight's beginner fiddle class. We're going to be working on the song Childgrove, which is a traditional slow, sad tune. We haven't done a ton of these, so I'm going to show you guys how to put some kind of dreary drones in as well as slides, and also teach you guys how to do Irish turns, which would add to kind of the mood of the piece. Okay, so I'm going to kind of play it through just so you guys can hear it, and then give you guys some tips on what to add in here and exactly how to do the Irish turns, as I mentioned. All right, so that's the kind of song that you play after you've lost your favorite something, whatever it might be. Okay, so I'm going to grab my pen here. I'm going to put in some suggestions of slides as well as some drones and turns. Okay, so I really like to put, lots of slides in this piece, so I'm going to start off by giving you guys some suggestions of where to put them in. Just kind of my classical instinct would be to start this piece up bow because it's a pickup note. That would not be something a non-classical person would say. So yeah, let me just put that in there just to make it me, make it how I would teach it. So yeah, the second note I would slide it, and then we can slide into the C natural. That would be kind of a good spot. Anytime you have a long note, it's a good spot to slide. Whenever I see a first finger, I like to do a slide down. So I'll do that there. And that's going to be different than a slide up. Same thing here. This is a 1, slide down. Now on the 1, I think I'm going to show you guys how to do this Irish turn. We're going to label it like that. So what you would do on something like that is, I'll actually show you guys up here in the corner. Whatever note it is that you're turning, you would go up to the next note of the scale. So it'd be here, whatever. And then we would go back to the note that we started on. Then we would go down to the next note of the scale. So one down there. And then we go back to the note we started on. So basically we're playing the note that we started on 3 times, but we're going up, then down, then back to it. Let me play it slowly so you guys can hear what it should sound like as far as the Irish turn. So it's going to be B natural, first finger on the A string, second finger, back to B, A, B. So it's B, C, B, A, B. And the faster you do it, the better. So a measure before that, let me just play you guys what it should sound like if I do a turn there. Like that. So that would be an Irish turn. I just did 2 slides there. That would be fine. Slide there. 4th finger. Stay on the same string is good. And then maybe let's try to do a little bit of improvisation. So improvisation for you beginner fiddlers is basically where we kind of change up a few notes to make it sound a little bit unique. So let's actually do that here at the start of the 3rd line. So if I back up a couple measures before. So instead of going, let's change that up to something else. Let's do, that would work, or so a lot of different things you can do there. And the common theme of what I did there as far as improvisation is I ended up on the same note. I'm taking the second ending, guys. I could have taken the first ending. So I'm kind of changing up what's in this box. So basically what I see in my head is I see a 2, second finger on the A string, and then I see an open A. Now what happens between that can be varied in a number of different ways. And what you have to understand is I don't have a plan of how I'm going to do it. I don't have like a bag of tricks that I can just kind of pull out and say, okay, I'm going to pull this. It's kind of a feel thing and kind of an ear thing. So if I maybe show you guys off the side here how to do a little bit of improvisation. So here we have a second finger, and we have an open string, okay? So we're trying to figure out what are we going to do in between this, okay? So there's so many different fingers and notes you can play that might work. And one kind of rule of thumb if you're just starting off with improvisation would be to stick with the notes of the scale. So in this case, it's in the key of C. So, stick to the basic notes that make up the scale, C, D, E, F, G. I won't keep going, you know what I mean, but stick to the notes of the scale and try to figure out, just play something and see if it works. So what if I was to do maybe a third finger, and then maybe a 1, and then maybe an open, and then maybe a 1 again, and then open. I promise that was just made up. I just made those fingerings up. Let's see what it would sound like with those fingerings. That actually worked. So I just totally made that up. Let's try another random set of numbers in there. Let's do 3, 0, 1, 2, and then we always end up on the 0, right? Let's see how that one sounds. That works. Okay, cool. So what I'm trying to show you guys here is that improvisation is not really a tactical thing. It's more just kind of having imagination and just kind of feeling out in your mind, I'm going to try to go this direction and kind of see if I can work my way back to the open, the note that I'm working towards. So it's improvisation to me is having a starting note and having a goal note. It's kind of like you're trying to find a path, but there's lots of different ways to reach that path. So, what I'm doing there is just showing you guys you could step this way, you could step this way, but as long as you end up on that same open, then it could work. So certainly there's different ones that will sound better than others. So don't get me wrong as far as that, everything you try is gonna work as far as your ear, but the more that you do trial and error, the better off you'll be, and the more you'll feel confident. All right, so hopefully you guys understand that a little bit. And then, for some of you guys that have never done improvisation, that might be a little overwhelming. So try to just stay real basic and maybe just even change one note. That might be a place to start. Okay, let's continue on in the 4th line. Do a little down slide on the 4. I don't know if we've done a lot of down slide on 4s, but that technically would work. Up slide on 4, down slide on 4, up slide, slur. Okay, I'm going to do some improvisation in here. I won't go into immense detail, but what I'll do is I'll just do some different scenarios of what it could sound like if I change up some notes in there. But again, it's the same idea. I have a bass note, which is 1, and I have a goal note, and I'm trying to get from 1 to 4. So let me play the last measure of line 4, and then see what I can come up with. Or so I just made all that up. So I kind of just played around with that box. See if you guys can try doing that. You could even just play 1 or 2 notes in there to see if you can work your way into that E. So let me just play 2 notes in there, make it a little simpler. So right there I just did E, and then I did open A, then I got to the E like that. So that's maybe a little bit simpler way to do it, but certainly it's all up to your imagination and what you're willing to try there. Okay, let's continue on. Let's try to do an Irish turn on the D that's following here. So for this, it would be 3. We go up 1 note of the scale, back to the note, down a note of the scale, back to the note. So it'd be that. And one note I'm kind of changing just because I feel like it sounds good, and just kind of naturally I want to play a G sharp there. It does sound good to play G sharp there. So I'd change that. But yeah, here's an Irish turn. Slide. Maybe a down slide there. Good. Okay. All right, let me play through it again, and I'll try to follow kind of what I've suggested. I won't go too fast, and hopefully you guys can follow along. Ready, go. All right, raise your hand if you guys like my version. Sounds pretty depressing, doesn't it? Makes you want to cry. All right, very good. So hopefully you guys can work on that this week. Give that a try. One thing that I'm actually in process of creating, which is kind of exciting, is a new system where we're actually producing guitar tracks and allowing you guys to play along to these songs with an actual guitar. So that should be available on the site very soon, so keep an eye out for that. That's definitely going to be a new feature that we're adding that's pretty exciting. So for those of you guys out there listening, keep an eye out for the guitar tracks feature we're going to be putting on, which will probably include this song. All right, I'm going to hang out with some of the people that are currently here in the class, answer a few questions, and then we'll go from there. So hopefully you guys that are watching after the fact, encourage you guys to join us next week in the webinar Beginner Fiddle class at 9 o'clock on Monday nights. Thanks so much for watching.